With the 15th pick and with the 26th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Dwayne Haskins, Montez Sweat.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Luke. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report Live. All right, so a lot of things have taken place, man, and we've talked about most of them throughout the course of the week. Josh Norman being released, Paul Richardson being released, Jordan Reed being released today. We've heard the reports about Austin Hooper potentially being a big-time target for the Redskins in free agency. Now we're hearing reports that the Falcons aren't going to be able to afford Austin Hooper. And there were Falcons fans kind of telling us, look, man, our cap situation isn't where it needs to be. But I still didn't believe it because Arthur Blank was talking about, making some moves like, for instance, Devontae Freeman was a guy that they were thinking about cutting, and he still ultimately may be cut to free up some cap space. And I thought they were going to do some things, maybe restructure a deal here or there to maneuver their way around the cap to be able to set themselves up to keep a guy like Austin Hooper. Doesn't sound like that's going to take place, but it's lying season, so I'm not going to just run with any reports. And everyone keeps sending me reports. Most of them have been substantiated, but there are other reports that people are sending me. Again, it's lying season, so I'm not going to really take anything and just run with it, all right? But Dunny seems to be disgruntled yet again and wants out, and he is doubling down on wanting out or to be released or traded. So many things going on. Adrian Peterson back as the Redskins picked up his option. Duh. We knew they were going to do that. So a lot of things have taken place since the last time that we have spoken on this live platform. But all of those things and more are available tonight. Phone lines are open, as a matter of fact. There it is. Phone lines officially open. Let me give you the order of operations on this show for those of you unfamiliar with how this goes. Number one, that supersedes all else, Super Chats. All right, so if you want to jump to the front of the line, Super Chats are the way to do so. All right, if you want to get in, Super Chatting is the best and most efficient way to do so. That's the number one way to get in on the show and have your comment read and have us discuss whatever it is you want us to discuss, or if you just want to donate. Either way, Super Chats are number one. They supersede everything else. That's why they're called Super Chats. Number two, the phone lines. You see the number on the screen. Call in. Again, keep it short, keep it brief, keep it concise. Make sure you have a solid connection. And like I said, want to get in and out in as many calls as we can possibly get to. So make sure that you know what you want to say it, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll move on to the next caller. So phone lines are the second way to get in. And the final way to get in is the comment section on YouTube. Make sure you use the hashtag LouisTLive to have your comment read on the air. That's Louis T Live. Hashtag Louis T Live, so I know that you're addressing your comment to me. And hopefully we'll get to some of those, but you know how it goes. Phone lines get lit. Super Chats come in. It's hard to get through all the comments, so you know how that goes. But in any event, let's start the show off with a comment from Zacharias Fire, who says Redskins have standards now, apparently. I don't know. We'll see. Got a phone call. Going to go ahead and take it up. We just missed the call. Hopefully that person will call back. But I don't know. Maybe they do have standards now. I mean, Dunny's upset, because he's not getting what he wants. And you know how I think that conversation went? And I said it earlier on the Jordan Reed video I did briefly. But I think that conversation went something like this. Hey, man, Dunny rolls into Ron Rivera's office like, hey, coach, man, I love what you're doing with the team, and I love the culture you're trying to bring in here. I just want to know if I'm a part of it. I'm playing on a deal with no guaranteed money. I'm going into the final year of my deal. Feel like I'm one of the players that should be here. I want to know where I stand, and I need to be compensated. I need to feel like I am one of the guys that you're going to really build this thing around. And the way you say that is with an extension, a long-term deal with a bunch of guaranteed money. How's that sound? And Rivera's like, yeah, that does sound great. However, we looked at your track record, and you had a tough time staying healthy. We love your play when you're healthy, though. Don't get me wrong. But you haven't stayed healthy, so here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you play this year out. We're going to make sure you get paid, and you've been in the league long enough that if you're on the roster week 1, which you'll be, you're going to get your $4 million this year, all right? And if you play all 16 games or you play in 14 or 15 games and you're relatively healthy throughout the course of the year and you continue to play ball, and we're going to break you off. And Dunny's like, yeah, that sounds good, but I want my money right now. And Rivera's like, yeah, it does sound good, but we're not going to pay you your money right now. And then, so Dunny's like, okay, cool. I'm going to do what I got to do. And Rivera's like, yeah, you do that. So we'll see what happens, man. It sounds like he's not going to get that long-term deal right now. I told you I want Dunny here. But, in Ron we trust is what we're rolling with. And so we'll see what happens. Got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
What's going on, Lou? This is Santiago.
What's going on, Santiago?
Not much. Just holding it down as usual. I just got look, I want to tell you.
Okay.
Look, I don't know, but Lou, for personally myself, I feel like that for some reason, Jordan Reed, every time when we needed him in a big situation or it was like a big game that, we might need it to get over as far as win a division, he was never there. When he was serviceable, he could, but for some reason now he's wanting to play, which I agree with what you said about. I wish that he would have, just gone there and hung it up, retire, but I feel some kind of way that when it comes down to it seemed like every time when it was time for him to be playing for us, he was never there for a big game. Have you ever felt that way when it came down to Jordan Reed? Like if if we needed a game that was against the Cowboys, or it was like pertaining to if it was a game that was meaningful that we really, really needed him. And I'm starting to feel the same way about Quinton. Now I like Quinton Dunbar too. I know how you feel about Quinton Dunbar, but Dunny, he get into I don't know. It seems like he's wanting to be babied or pampered. How in the world are you wanting to be babied and you can't even put in a full season? Ain't nobody gonna pay you if you ain't put in the full season. And how do you feel about that?
All right. Hey, I'm going to take it right here. And I appreciate you calling in, Santiago, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I appreciate it as well.
No doubt.
That you always being attentive and staying on top of the Redskins, whatever it is, and bringing out the best of whatever it is that need to be brought out for the Redskins as us as fans.
Hey, no doubt, man. And I'm going to continue to bring that fire for you guys, man. You take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Santiago first talked about Jordan Reed not being available in big spots. The way I feel about it is, how many big spots have we truly been in since Jordan Reed has been in the league? He's been in the league 6 years. I mean, how many truly big spots have the Redskins actually been in since Jordan Reed's been in the league? Not many. I mean, he was available in 2015 when we made the run, and he was a huge part of that run. I mean, he might have been the biggest part of that run. I think Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson were also integral in the offensive attack that year. But Jordan Reed was Kirk Cousins' main go-to guy in 2015. But outside of that, when have we ever really been relevant? I mean, 2016, we should have made the postseason. And, I put a lot of the blame on some ill-advised, ill-timed turnovers and missed kicks by Dustin Hopkins in that season. But we should have beat the Giants in Week 17, but that's not here nor there. And I believe Jordan was available for most of the 2016 season. He did miss some games that year, but we should have made the postseason. And then after that, we haven't been good. 2017, 2018, we started out very well, but we all saw the writing on the wall in 2018. You weren't going to continue to get by playing marginal teams and squeaking by victories. Once you played better opponents, you were going to lose games because we just weren't that good. So no, I didn't feel like he wasn't available in big spots. He just wasn't available, period. Enough. But we didn't play in enough big spots for us to even be able to say he wasn't available in big spots. As for Quinton Dunbar, it's not about being pampered. I told you, I generally err on the side of caution when I talk about a guy's money because it's football. It's a physical, tough, demanding sport. And when you play this game, injuries happen, more to some guys than others. But nonetheless, it's a physically demanding sport. And injuries are going to occur. At the end of the day, if you play at a high level like Quinton Dunbar does, you deserve to be paid. And I think the Redskins took advantage of a guy that hadn't made any real money. And they threw some money in front of Quinton Dunbar's face about 3 years ago when he signed that 3-year, $12 million extension. I don't fault him for taking that. All right. Again, he was an undrafted rookie when he came to this football team, and he hadn't made any real money by the time that deal that he signed as an undrafted rookie was up. And they flashed $12 million in front of his face, and he was like, shit, I never made any money. I'm going to take it. And now he's at the back end of that extension, and he's looking like I'm playing for pennies right now. You guys got to help me out here. And the Redskins are like, we don't have to do a damn thing, but have you honor that contract. And so I get where the Redskins are coming from. I get where Dunny's coming from. And at the end of the day, they're at an impasse, and we'll see what happens. It's a game of chicken. Who's going to flinch, blink, and swerve out of the way first? I think I know how this ends, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get to another caller. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
What's going on, Lou? This is DeMarco.
Hey, what's going on, DeMarco?
Nothing much, man. How you been doing?
I'm hanging tough, bro.
All right. Yeah, about the Redskins, right?
You gotta speak up. You gotta speak up. You talking real low.
Okay, yeah. About the Redskins, right?
Hmm?
I mean, my opinion, I just think that we just need, to possibly get rid of, the people who don't want to be here. Because, we already have, our own issues trying to get Trent back and trying to get Brandon back. And, it's like Quinton Dunbar is just, trying to get in the way of all of that. So I'm just like, just release the people who just don't want to be here and just move forward.
All right, man. I appreciate you chiming in.
You too, man.
No doubt. So I understand where he's coming from about, if you don't want to be here, help them out of here. That was the Joe Gibbs line. Joe Gibbs would always tell players, if you don't want to be here, come in my office. I'll help you get out of here. All right. Lavernius Coles, prime example, was one of the first guys shipped out of here when Joe Gibbs got here. Lavernius didn't like the direction the Redskins were going in. And he said, you don't want to be here? Fine, I'll help you get out of here. So Champ Bailey, another guy, didn't want to be here. Joe got him out of here for Clinton Portis. So I understand that premise. You don't want to be here, let me help you get out of here. However, Dunny wants to be here. He just wants to be paid here. And if the Redskins aren't going to do that, he's like, well, send me somewhere where I'll get paid. So I don't know if it's necessarily a situation where he doesn't want to be here, but if you're not going to pay me, then set me free so I can get paid. And so I get where you're coming from, though. And I can't knock that. I can't knock it. If they don't want to be here, then move on. But you got to put yourself in his shoes. If you were playing under a contract that wasn't guaranteed going into the final year of your deal, and you feel like I've played at a high enough level where I need to be rewarded for my play, and they're telling you, no, we're not going to reward you for anything, you'd be a little stale and salty too. So got some super chats, though. I want to knock those out. The first from Miguel Reyes 17. Thank you for the super chat, Miguel Reyes 17. And Miguel writes, I rock with Dunny. Not all in the trade for Slay. He says, so he rocks with Dunny, he says, but he said he's all in on a trade for Darius Slay. I'm not looking to give up any draft capital. I don't know if you can trade disgruntled corner for disgruntled corner, but obviously if we were trading for Darius Slay, Quinton Dunbar wouldn't satisfy that deal by himself. You can't trade those two players straight up. Dunny isn't of equal value to Darius Slay. So if you're the Redskins and you want Darius Slay and you want to get rid of Dunny all at the same time, You would also have to package that up with either another player, like a Ryan Kerrigan, for instance, or you'd have to throw in a draft pick. Now, I don't know about you. I'd do a Dunny and Kerrigan for Darius Slay trade quickly. And, in a hurry. This is the thing, though. You have to pay Darius Slay, and he hasn't been the healthiest guy either in Detroit. It's nothing for him to miss 2-3 weeks with a calf strain or an ankle injury. Darius Slay isn't always healthy his damn self. So, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But he's available. The Lions are looking to move him. We'll see what happens. But right now, I'm not really looking to trade for anybody else's stuff. I'm not. I'm looking to offload some items, and I'm looking to get as much in return as possible. And I'm looking to load this team up with a bunch of young, talented, hungry football players on cheap contracts that will allow us to spend money elsewhere to try to speed up this process to turn this thing around sooner rather than later. Got another super chat. This one from Minister Carl Glover. All right, Minister Carl Glover doesn't say anything. Just bless the kid with a super chat, man. I appreciate you, Minister Carl Glover. Appreciate that super chat. Blackskin HTTR says, first of all, thank you for the super chat, Blackskin HTTR. Greatly appreciate the super chat. And he says, pay Dunny, man, incentives-based salary. Now, is he willing to take that? Again, we don't know what the situation is. We don't know the circumstances surrounding this situation. Does Dunny want his money up front? He may say, look, I'm not looking to play for incentives or anything like that. Most guys are willing to bet on themselves. Most guys feel really confident in their abilities. And if you give them a certain amount of guarantees, but then you also dangle some incentives in front of them, they're willing to bet on themselves. But in the case of Dunny, there's only so much you can do because he's only got $4 million on his contract. Now, it's not guaranteed, but it's $4 million. I hate to say this because in relative terms, $4 million is a lot of money. But we're talking about in the space of the NFL. $4 million for a starting caliber corner who is actually pretty damn good is very, very cheap. Look around the league at starting caliber corners. You probably won't find many making less than $9 million. All right. Most of the good ones in this league are making double digits per annual salary. Okay. So you're looking at $11, $12 million per. All right. Dunny's making a third of that right now at $4 million. So he's grossly underpaid. And frankly, I don't know if an incentive-based contract would do him any good right now. I will say this. If you go long-term, however, you may be able to give him some guarantees right now. And then the rest of the contract, a lot of the money that he can earn could be set up in incentives. And I've stated that already. When we first talked about the Dunny situation, I said, look, that's how I would set it up. I would give Dunny an extension. I would put this in front of him. Now, will he sign it? Will he agree to terms? I don't know. But this is what I would propose to him, and this would be the only way I would be willing to sign him up long term because I just don't have enough body of work of him staying healthy to be able to comfortably hand this man a 4-year, $45 million deal with 28 of it guaranteed or 24 of it guaranteed and just feel confident that he's going to stay healthy and really perform to the life of that contract. So I don't know if I would be comfortable giving him a deal that just is front loaded with a bunch of guarantees and not have anything to give me a little bit of comfort knowing that if he doesn't perform at a high enough level or doesn't play in enough games, and there's some money that we'll be able to keep in our pocket. So I do think that the incentives are something that the Redskins should look into if they haven't already. But, who's to say that they haven't and Dunny just doesn't want any parts of that? Hard to say. Got another super chat. This one from Curtis Owens. Appreciate the super chat, Curtis Owens. And I just wanted to bless the kid with a super chat. I really appreciate that, Curtis Owens. Thank you so much for the super chat, Curtis. Got another super chat. This one from Luke Butts. Luke Butts, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much, Luke. He says, say it. Sprinkle me, bitch. Sprinkle me. That's all he wanted me to do. So I bless you again, man. You blessed me with the super chat. Sprinkle me, bitch. Sprinkle me. All right. I don't know how many more times we're going to get that, though. I don't know if Jeremy's going to end up on the roster this year or not. So get him while you can, because there aren't many more J. Reeds. Those are done. All right. You know, all of those good vibes and all of those, you know, they're done, man. You know, and Jeremy Sprinkle may not have many left his damn self. So, hey, Luke, you a funny dude, man. Got another super chat. I'm going to read this one. This one from CJ Photo Shoots. Or CJ Shoots Photos, excuse me. Thank you for the super chat. CJ Shoots Photos. He writes, get younger. My opinion, and number one, approaching free agency. Never sign guys when their best season is in the past with another team. Sign future potential. That's usually the goal for free agency. Is you get a guy that's starting to trend upward and you're seeing really good play, but the best is yet to come. It's hard to get those types of players unless they're coming off of their rookie contract. It's rare. Now, you know, you've got the rare occasions like Bradley Roby, for instance, who is on his second deal right now, but he had a rookie deal in Denver. That expired. He got a one-year contract in Houston, and now he's looking to cash in with a long-term deal. This is his third contract, but he's still in the prime of his career. Generally, that's what you're looking to do in free agency. You're looking to get that guy that, like Landon Collins, that guy that his rookie deal is up, the team that he's coming from, they'd like to have him back, but maybe they're strapped for cash, or maybe they don't see the value in giving that guy the kind of money he's looking for. Whatever the case may be, you see that guy sees dollar signs, that other team sees dollar signs, and you see potential in a player and you sign him up. That's what free agency is all about. Not the way the Redskins used to do it under Vinny Serrato and Dan Snyder back in the day, where they were signing guys that's their best football long gone in the past in the rearview mirror. And they were trying to put together these all-star teams of guys that were Pro Bowlers in the 90s, and we were into the 2000s. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, CJ Shoots Photos, that you got to get guys where the potential is high. You know, now there is a risk to that. It's called Paul Richardson, where you go after a guy, you see a flash of potential, but he's had some injuries in the past, but the best could be yet to come. You get him and you don't get what you were bargaining for. That can happen too, and that's why free agency is a crapshoot, just like the draft is. You know, nothing's a guarantee in this league. So, but I'm with you all the way. The best route to go is young guys that are heading into the prime of their careers when you go into free agency. Another super chat. This one from Jay Willard. Thank you for the super chat, Jay Willard. Jay writes, Bradbury and Chris Harris Jr. cap space is there. Now, the question is, how much are these guys looking for? I think Chris Harris, I think you can get him on, it's going to cost, all right? But you don't have to sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal. I think Chris Harris is one of those guys you sign to a 2-year deal. Now, it's going to be probably, $13, $14 million per. So you're looking at 2 years, 28, 29 million for a guy like Chris Harris. And of that 28, 29 million, 18, 19 of it is guaranteed. However, he's a guy that, and really that's a 2-year deal with a team option for the second year, or a player option for the second year. However you want to do it, usually it's a team option for that second year. That's how you get Chris Harris here. And I love the fact that he's worked with Jack Del Rio before and has had success with him. I think that gives the Redskins a leg up on some of the other teams out there that may be potential suitors for Chris Harris Jr. As far as James Bradbury is concerned, like I said, we got Ron Rivera, so that gives us a great opportunity to sway him to come here. Again, how much is the price tag on James Bradbury? The cornerback position is one of those positions you're going to have to pay for. There's no way around it. And I don't know what his market is, James Bradbury's, that is. But I'm assuming that you're going to have to pay. You have to pay some good money to get James Bradbury here in D.C. and pry him away from Carolina if the Panthers do not want him back. So I like you, feel like the Redskins have to do something at corner. I don't think that's optional, especially if Dunny's not going to be back. If you're going to move Dunny, if he's going to be disgruntled and something is going to come of that situation other than him playing here, you definitely have to be aggressive in free agency because there's no guarantees that you're going to get a guy in the draft. So with the Redskins not having a second-round pick, there's no guarantees that you're going to get a guy that you feel comfortable and confident in coming in and starting, early on in his rookie season. You may get a guy that you can develop in, week 9, 10, 11. He's ready to see the field and actually give you some quality snaps. Or maybe in his second season, he's ready to come in and give you something. But if you're looking for guys to help you right now, you got Fat Moreau, all right? You add a guy in free agency, and you start looking at Jimmy Moreland and hoping he develops in year 2. And then, you kind of fill in the gaps, so to speak. But you'd like to go into the season feeling really good about the cornerback position. And I think the only way you can do that really is to at least get one guy out of free agency and then look to get someone in the draft. If you get 2 guys in free agency, then it's not as big a need in the draft. All right, then it becomes less of a need. But if you only get one guy in free agency and Dunny's not going to be here, you probably need to do something in the draft as well. So I hear you, Jay Willard, though. The cap space is definitely there. We'll see what the Redskins decide to do at the cornerback position. Another super chat, this time from Santiago Tredell, who says, had to support the show. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, no problem, Santiago. Appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate you supporting the movement. Really appreciate the support, Santiago, and appreciate the super chat. Got another super chat. Gonna go ahead and take that one. This one is from Daniel Watts. Daniel Watts, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated, Daniel Watts. Daniel writes, with the uncertainty with Monte Nicholson and some rumors with the Redskins about getting another safety to pair with Collins, who will they look at? I've already given you the guy that I want the Redskins to go after in Anthony Harris of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I was looking at his market, and I was looking at what kind of money Anthony Harris is going to command on the free agent market. And right now, his value is set at right around 5 years, $65 million. It's a lot of money. But we saw the safety position get a huge bump last offseason with Landon Collins, Tyrann Mathieu, and Earl Thomas all getting massive deals. So we knew the safety position was now going to be a brave new world. All right. And so that's a lot of money, but I think he's totally worth it. And as one of the super chatters said, and I want to go back and find who it was quickly, that stated that in free agency, you want to go back and you want to sign future potential. It was CJ Schutt's photo. I'm with CJ. I want guys who are ascending, not descending. And to me, Anthony Harris is ascending in this league. Now, again, is Minnesota going to be able to sign him back? I think they're going to make a hard charge at keeping him. But we'll see what happens. But he's available. Carl Joseph, the former first-round pick of the Oakland Raiders, is available. I mean, there's some guys out there that may be a little bit cheaper than Anthony Harris. But for my money, I'm looking to go after the guy that I think you pair with Landon Collins and you can really do some damage with. And Anthony Harris is that guy for me. But again, you can't go out and spend on everybody, and you still want to take care of your own guys. So it's hard to really say what exactly the Redskins are going to do. But my guy that I'm targeting is Anthony Harris in free agency. Carl Joseph is another guy that's a backup option if, something falls through. There's some other guys that will be available, but that's the guy that I'm really looking to go after. Thank you for the super chat once again, Daniel Watts. Got another super chat. This one from The Blocker. The Blocker, thank you for the super chat. The Blocker writes, Block Bill Cola spewing racist nonsense in the chat. Other than that, I'm loving Coach Ron's moves. In Ron, we trust the movement. All right, so Bill Cola. Let's see. All right. Well, let's see what we got. All right. Let's see what we got. Y'all behave yourselves in the chat, man. All right. Oh, man. Sorry. Wrong guy. I apologize for that. Let me try to fix it. I'm over here blocking dudes that I didn't mean to do that to. I'm sorry. It moved up on me when I was doing it. You didn't do anything wrong, man. I apologize. All right. Let's move on. Hey, Waleed, man, I apologize. I'm sorry. I apologize, dude. It kept moving as I was doing it, man. All right. Anyway, got another super chat. Hey, D Blocker, appreciate the super chat. Miguel Reyes 17 with another super chat. Thank you so much, Miguel, for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Miguel writes, doesn't Bradbury seem Josh Normanish? No, he doesn't. I will say this. In terms of speed, James Bradbury isn't a top speed guy. He's not, the 4-3-7 guy. That's not his game. But what he does do well is he has length, he is physical, he has ball skills, and he can run faster than Josh Norman. So there are some similarities in James Bradbury, which is why Carolina drafted him. Remember, you draft guys that fit your DNA, that fit your personality and what you want to do. And Josh Norman was a long, rangy corner with ball skills. So is James Bradbury. So I do get the similarities and why you feel like he kind of gives you the Josh Norman vibes. But A, he's younger. B, he's more athletically gifted than Josh Norman. And C, he's going into the prime of his career. As we found out with Josh Norman's best football was already behind him. So, and I don't know how old James Bradbury is. I'll take a stab in the dark and say that James Bradbury is 26, 27 max. Josh Norman was like 28 when we got him, 28, 29-ish, somewhere in there. So I see where you can make the comparisons, but to me, Bradbury is a more athletically gifted corner. They're similar in their makeup in terms of the length and the ball skills, physicality, tackling out in space, that sort of thing. But also, Ron Rivera is no fool. Like, Josh Norman isn't a bad corner. We just used him improperly. And so, if we get James Bradbury, they're not going to put him in compromising situations. But I tell you this. When we got Josh Norman, I told you guys he was strictly a cover 3 corner. Strictly cover 3, cover 4, cover 2. Don't put him in man-to-man situations. That's not what he does. James Bradbury, I feel a lot more confident in his ability to go man-to-man with receivers in this league. Now, I don't want him running with burners, all day long, but I don't feel like if we put him one-on-one with, Odell Beckham Jr. or someone like that, he's just going to get toasted, like we did with Josh Norman. So I feel good about James Bradbury. I feel even better about Chris Harris Jr. So, for whatever it's worth. But Miguel, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Got some more super chats. Gonna go ahead and read these, I should say. My man Derek B. What's going on, Derek B? Greatly appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Derek B writes, Told you Skins would do nothing about Dunny. Going public killed any chance of an extension and forced Ron to make an example of him. You said it. I did not think that this thing was going to end amicably. All right. I told you I thought that we were going to see a situation that it ended in Dunny having, to go elsewhere to get his money. I told you guys at the very end of that Quinton Dunbar video, the first one where we thought he was demanding a trade, and I told you he was demanding a trade. He just was walking it back because Ron Rivera reached out and said, hey, dude, let's come in, let's talk about this. But he demanded a trade the first time. So this is the thing. I told you I didn't think it was going to end well for the Redskins, but you said it after they agreed to meet. After they agreed to meet, I thought that there was going to be some kind of resolution. You did not think so, however. You said, no. This is not how this goes down. You make public statements like the ones Dunny made, and there is a price to pay for that. And it seems like you were right. Now, I'm going to reserve judgment on how I approach and attack this situation because there will be more that comes out about this situation with Quinton Dunbar. All right? We just have struck the tip of the iceberg here. There is going to be a lot more that comes out about, the meeting that he and Ron Rivera had, what the Redskins are saying to him, what he feels like. Eventually, if Dunny gets mad enough, he's just going to start talking. And we'll see what Ron does then, We'll see what happens, but you were right. You did say that him coming out publicly was not going to bode well for him, and that seems to be the case right now. You're 110% spot on, Derek B. Appreciate the super chat as well. Another super chat, this one from Ice Mule. Ice Mule, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ice Mule says, if he is unhappy, trade him Belichick style. HTTR. I don't have a problem with that. At this point, I don't have a problem with the Redskins telling Dunny, we can't commit to you long term because of your past with injuries. And I don't have a problem with Quinton Dunbar feeling like if you're not gonna pay me, trade me. If that's what he wants, and you find a team that's willing to give you what you feel like is good value for Quinton Dunbar, you part ways with him, you move on, you take that pick, and you try to find his replacement. And if you ask me, you should be able to get no less than a fourth round pick for Quinton Dunbar, possibly a third. But here's the thing. Because he's on the last year of his deal, and wherever he goes, he's going to have to be paid. I think you're gonna find it tough to just trade him. His value isn't very high because he's going to want to get paid wherever he goes. Like, if you trade him, he's not just going to be content with making $4 million. That's the whole problem with him here. That's the reason he's a malcontent in Washington, is because he wants to be paid. So him just being traded isn't going to solve what issue he has. He needs to be paid. That's what he wants. So if you're going to find a trade partner, they also have to be willing to give him the extension that he's looking for. That's going to make things complicated, especially when you look at the current deal that he's on and you say, man, $4 million for a really good starting caliber corner in this league? Hell, that's a hell of a deal. But again, he's not playing. That was the same thing I said about Antonio Brown last offseason when everybody was like, man, we should trade for Antonio Brown. And I'm like, here's the problem. He wants new money. Yes, his contract is very favorable, but he's not going to play under that contract. He already told anybody that will listen, he wants new money. Same thing with Quinton Dunbar. You trade for him, you got to pay him. So I don't know what the Redskins are going to get, but I don't disagree with you, Ice Mule. You don't want to be here. And another viewer said the same thing earlier. If they don't want to be here, get rid of them. I don't disagree with that. They don't want to be here, get rid of them. I think Dunny wants to be here, but I don't know if he's going to get paid here. And if he's not a part of your long-term future, and I don't know if Ron Rivera is saying that he's not. He's just saying, I'm not going to pay you right now until you show me that you deserve to be a part of our long-term future. And Dunny may be saying, look, I don't want to hear that. I've done enough here before you got here. I did enough to prove that I belong here and that I should be paid. If my track record and my body of work isn't enough and doesn't speak for itself, then ship me off so I can get paid elsewhere. If that's the case, Do what you got to do. Thank you once again, Ice Mule, for the super chat. Santiago Tradell, thank you once again for the super chat. Santiago, appreciate it. He says, do we still have Rob Ryan? No. Rob Ryan was ousted along with probably 95% of the Redskins coaching staff. Not many guys were held over from the previous regime. There were only a handful of guys that were kept on with this team. I know the special teams coordinator was kept on. I think the running backs coach, Randy Jordan, was also kept on, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Randy might have been already shipped out of here too. But I know for sure Nate Kazar, our special teams coordinator, was one of the mainstays and the guys that was kept from the last regime. So not many guys here, including Rob Ryan, who's also gone. All right, so another super chat. This one from Zimba Sexy One. Zimba Sexy One. Appreciate the super chat. Greatly appreciated it. And he says, super chats flowing today. Keep up the good work. Yeah, they are, man. I greatly appreciate them. And I greatly appreciate you for your super chat as well. They're definitely flowing. You guys keep them coming. I love answering the super chats. And I appreciate all that you guys do for the movement. So with that being said, got a little break in the action. No super chat here to read. Let's get to got a super chat just when I said we didn't have any more. This one from Barrett Downing. Barrett Downing, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Barrett Downing says, love what you do, brother. Respect. Hey, the feeling is mutual, man. I love what you do by supporting the movement and the channel. Thank you for what you provide to the Louis T Network. So respect to you and everyone else out there that supports the Louis T Network. So thank you, Barrett Downing, and thank the rest of you guys and gals out there for your support as well. So with that being said, let's get to the phone lines. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, what's up, Louis? Derek Big. How you doing, man?
Going on, Derek? Appreciate the super chat.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, I wanted to just talk about a couple things. I got to work tonight.
Yep.
So I'll keep it short. Just wanted to, with Dunny,
Mm-hmm.
his problem is that he doesn't have any real leverage.
He doesn't. He really doesn't.
He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do, if it were me, like right after everything he did, just making a kind of a fool of himself, just talking all early and out of turn,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would just be like, tell your agent, go ahead and see if you can get us a 2. We don't have a 2. If you can get us a 2, we work out whatever deal that you can find out with a team that'll pay you the money you want, and we'll be happy to let you go. If you're who you think you are, you should be able to get us a 2 for you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Look, I don't see any way in which a team is going to be willing to cough up a second rounder and have to pay that man. That's the problem. If this were last year and Quinton Dunbar with the money he's making, you probably could fetch a 2 for him because he would have 2 years left, and the money that you would be paying him would be peanuts for a really good starting caliber corner. The Redskins would have had a lot more leverage in that situation. They really have no leverage in terms of a trade now. In terms of Quinton Dunbar and his contract, the Redskins have all the leverage, as you mentioned, because you're pretty much on a 1-year, $4 million deal with no guaranteed money. Once the season starts, though, because he's a vested veteran, the $4 million is guaranteed to him. He's just got to make it to week 1. But again, you're thinking about now, between now and then, and he's not even thinking about the $4 million. He's just thinking, I'm not playing for $4 million. That's pretty much where he's at right now. And so I don't think he'll be able to get a 2 because a team is thinking, not only do I have to fork over some serious draft capital, a 2 is like a new 1. You know what I mean? Like, second round picks are becoming so much more paramount in this league. Like, you got to hit on these.
But if he thinks, if he's top 15, top 20
Mm-hmm.
cornerback,
yeah,
a two a team would pay for. They've already paid what? What did they give the Rams? They gave up 2 number ones for Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, but Ramsey, but you
and
know,
and he's trying to say he's a step below that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's saying. Like the next tier. That's what he's saying he is.
If
a two for a starting corner is not crazy.
It's not, but the thing you have to take into consideration is you got to pay him too. You know, for the Rams, they knew they were going to have to pay.
That's what I would tell him. I don't think he would get it either. I think you're right.
Yeah.
He wouldn't get it, and I don't think he would get anyone that would pay him that kind of money and pay him that money.
Right.
But I'll say, like, listen, just you tell your agent, get us a 2. And if you can get your deal, go ahead and make your deal. And we'll see what money is out there.
Right.
And then as free agency comes and goes, and then the draft comes and goes, and then those musical chairs are all taken up,
Yep.
I'll see you at minicamp.
Yep. I mean, that's what it's all going to boil down to. I mean, I don't know what his financial situation is, but he's in no position to sit out. You know what I mean? Because unlike a Le'Veon Bell who wasn't under contract, he wasn't being fined. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't contractually obligated to show up because he didn't sign anything. Trent last year, he had enough bread. He had made money in his career where he could say, you know what, I'll sit out. If, you know, the situation isn't what I want, I'll sit out. And so he was
also
able to do
had
that.
Pro Bowls and All Pros.
Yeah.
And where are yours, Dunny? Where are your Pro Bowls and your All Pros? Where they at?
And that's the problem. And so I like you think that there's little to no leverage on the part of Dunny. And if the Redskins want to trade him, I don't know if they have that much leverage themselves. And that's where the problem lies. And so, like you said, I think you said it eloquently last week. He's probably just going to have to shut up and show up. That's pretty much it.
So then, if I were Ron, I would be like, listen, you keep talking to Jacinda Anderson and sending her tweets or whatever, and you'll find yourself, being a $4 million slot corner, and you'll see what money you get after that, after a year of that.
Yeah.
So you need to stop and show up at the camp. And I think if he had balled out, they would have paid him. They might have even, if he had really balled out, they would have tried to work out a contract before free agency.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, it's hard to be upset at him because I get where he's coming from, as I've said before, but at the same time, there's a way to go about it. And he just went about it all wrong. And the one thing you don't want to do with a new regime is you don't want to come at them aggressively like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they don't know you. And he said it. I don't know them. They don't know me. It is what it is. Like, that was his mindset going in. And that was the wrong mindset for him to have, which is, they don't know me. I don't know them. So I'm about to buck off. And it just went sideways. And it didn't need to be that way. But he made his bed. Now he's got to lie in it. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So you think Jay Reed anybody gives Jay Reed a shot?
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, this was the thing. It was never a situation of where other teams going to blackball him to protect him from himself. No, the NFL teams don't give a shit. If you want to play and you're capable, they will sign your ass up. And
but what do you think the team gives him? Like the veteran minimum to come out and show he can get through training?
No, sorry. Jordan Reed is better than the veteran minimum. It's going to be incentive. It's going to be incentive later.
I mean,
it's going to be incentive.
Can you give up a roster spot for him? And when you don't know whether or not he'll get through a training camp, or if he gets hit in the head, he'll be scrambled eggs for 4 to 6 weeks.
Look, I can tell you right now, a team like the New England Patriots would die to have Jordan Reed, and he wants to win bad. That's the reason why he's coming back. I listen to all these people who are close to the situation talk about why he still wants to play, and he's chasing a ring. And New England, the biggest problem with the Patriots last year is they didn't have separators at the tight end position. They missed Gronk last year. You think the Patriots wouldn't go after Jordan Reed?
I think they'll go after. I don't think they'll give him a shot. I don't think they'll pay him. I don't think they'll give him.
This is what they're going to. It's going to be a heavy.
More than $3 million, more than $2-3 million to show up at camp and see if he can stay in there. I think they'll give him a shot. I would love to see that. To tell you the truth, I'd be rooting for him.
Yeah,
that's the problem with Brady.
They would sign him to a deal and it would just be incentive laden. That's it. I mean, you'd have to play X amount of games, X amount of snaps, percentage wise, and you'd have to achieve certain amount of catches, and and if you hit all of those benchmarks, you'll get your money. And
No, but if you don't, it's dummy money.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they would do. And that's what any team, it's not just the Patriots, that's what any team that signs Jordan Reed is going to do. And he
Yeah, that's what I
knows
was saying. Like, if he was going to get like a contract like Greg Olson got, $7 million, he's not going to get that.
He could get a $7 million contract, but it's not going to be 1 year, $7 million fully guaranteed. It'll be 1 year, $7 million, but it'll be with a $1.5 or $2 million base, and then the other $5 million you can get in incentives.
Yeah.
So it'll sound good on paper. The agent is going to report 1 year, $7 million, but if you get into the contract, it's 1 year, $1.5 million, and if you hit 4 or 5 different escalators in your contract, then you'll get your full $7 million.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
All right, thanks for letting me chop it up, man.
Hey, no doubt, Darren B, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, have a good one.
Likewise. All right, so got some super chats, so we're going to head back that way. And we go to Ray Riley. Thank you for the super chat, Ray Riley. Ray Riley, greatly appreciate the super chat. Ray writes, what should the Skins do at linebacker, especially strong side, since we're switching to the 4-3 defense? So this is what I'm hearing. Interesting question, Ray. This is what I'm hearing. Someone on Twitter had asked Julie Donaldson about Ryan Kerrigan and about Ryan Anderson. And because, after Josh Norman had been released and Paul Richardson had been released, a lot of people were thinking, okay, Jordan's going to be gone here. Like, that was a foregone conclusion. What about Ryan Kerrigan? Is he on the chopping block? And she quickly shot that down and said, nah, Rivera loves his veterans and they love Kerrigan. And Kerrigan already said he wants to be here. So, I don't know if he's getting an extension. I already said that. But Kerrigan's going to be here. I assume. Unless somebody comes to the Redskins with an offer they cannot refuse. And I don't know where Daniel Snyder stands, but they want Kerrigan to break that all-time Redskins sack record, and he's like a sack away, I think. So I don't see Kerrigan going anywhere. But then what I found interesting, because I never thought Kerrigan was going anywhere. They had a chance to trade him last trade deadline. They didn't. I didn't think he was going anywhere. The thing that I found interesting was the throwaway line was, hey, what about Ryan Anderson? And she said, they have a plan for Ryan Anderson, and it's at strong side linebacker. I thought that was the case. Remember, I talked about Ryan Anderson as the quintessential strong side linebacker. Like, that's where he belongs. I think that's what the team envisions him as. And that's why I told you, I don't think linebacker is really that big of a need on this football team. I don't know what we're going to get out of Reuben Foster, but when you look at all the things that we got last year, Cole Holcomb, you started to see Sean Dion emerge a bit. The forgotten man is Josh Harvey Clemens. He's still on the roster. Last time I checked, Josh Harvey Clemens still on the roster. Ron Rivera loves linebackers that can run. I'm just saying, I think they like what they have at linebacker. Now that you're going to a 4-3, some of these guys that might have been out of place, like a Ryan Anderson, I think he has a home now as a strong side backer. I'm just saying, we'll see what happens. But I think the Redskins feel really good about what they have. And I'm not saying they're not going to add a guy or two, but I don't think it's as big a need as we once thought it was, because they make the switch to 4-3 and they feel like the depth that we have on this roster, some of it may have been out of place because of the scheme we were running. I think they're going to try and utilize some of the guys that we have. So Rivera already said, one of the first things he said was, hey, we got backers that can run. That's true. We do. And for a long time, we didn't. So, and Ryan Anderson is one of those guys that can run. He's not the most explosive guy, which is why he wasn't a dominant pass rusher, but he can move. Ryan Anderson is no slouch. So he may actually get a chance to earn that second-round draft status, a la Trent Murphy. Remember how we were really disappointed in Trent Murphy, and then he had that 8.5 sack season, and then we were really looking forward to Trent Murphy that last year of his rookie deal, and then he got popped for PEDs, and then he got hurt, and that was that. I think Ryan Anderson has a chance to really ball out this year. And is this the last year of his rookie deal? I'm trying to think. He was a second rounder And in the same draft with Jonathan Allen, I think this is his last year. Allen was in the 17 draft, I think. 17, 18, 19. Yeah, this is his last year of his rookie deal. Because 17 was his rookie season, 18, and then 19 was last year. So he's got to ball out if he wants to get paid. So we'll see what happens. Thanks again for the super chat, Ray Riley. Super chat, Tommy Knockers. Thank you for the super chat. Tommy Knockers, greatly appreciate the super chat. Tommy Knockers writes, the talk of Trey Boston seemed to slow down. Is he still considered on the radar for the Redskins? Anytime you're talking about a guy that has played for Ron Rivera in the past, you have to think that that guy is a potential acquisition. I'm not a Trey Boston guy. There's a reason why Trey Boston is jumping from team to team on one-year deals. He's getting signed in the middle of seasons. He's not getting signed in the offseason. There's a reason Trey Boston is always available. All right? If Trey Boston were as good as all these Redskins fans keep trying to make him out to be, he would already be on a team. Trey Boston's been on like 87 different rosters in the last 3 years. Arizona, Chargers, the Panthers like 2 or 3 times. Like, he's been around the block a couple times. Why has nobody committed to him? And I'm not saying he can't play. I feel the same way about Carlos Hyde at the running back position. For the life of me, I couldn't understand why nobody loved Carlos Hyde. He just needed somebody to love him. He's a really quality back. I think he found a home in Houston this year. We'll see. Maybe Trey Boston just needs someone to love him. I don't know. But I know I'm not the biggest Trey Boston fan. And so we'll see what happens. But every year I hear a bunch of fans talking about Trey Boston. I'm not that high on Trey Boston. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Tommy Knockers. Really appreciate that. Another super chat, this one from Cameron Harris. Cameron Harris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cameron Harris. Cameron writes, love your show. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for your dedication and your support to the show. And thank you once again for the super chat. Got another super chat. This one from Chance Richardson. Chance Richardson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Chance writes, watching your live show from Camp Carroll, South Korea. Wow. I'm honored that you are watching all the way from South Korea. He says, keep up the great work covering our beloved skins. Hashtag HTTR. Thank you so much for all that you do for us. And thank you so much for your contribution as well. So thank you, Chance, for everything. And I think that's the last super chat we have for now. No, it is not. We have another super chat. Let's see if we got more. We got another super chat. So let's take it here to Miguel Reyes, 17. Thank you once again for the super chat. This is the third time you've super chatted tonight, and I greatly appreciate each and every single one of your super chats. Miguel, thank you so much for the super chats. Miguel writes, how you feel about Bama John Allen versus Skins John Allen? Oh man, that's a really good question, because the Bama John Allen was dominant, and I thought we were getting a guy that could be a Fletcher Cox type of guy, you know. I thought we were getting, and I knew he wasn't as big as Fletcher Cox. I thought we were getting a disruptor, a guy that could get after the quarterback, you know, flashing it. But this is the thing, and this is why I'm not going to bag on John Allen or Daron Payne, because those guys were being played out of position. I know we weren't in the 3-4, but, you know, 30, 35, 40% max of the time. I get it. And we were in a 4-down front or an even front more times than not. But I think in order to truly see what these guys are capable of, they need to be in their element more often, and that's in a even front. You know, John Allen should be a 3-tech. You know, he shouldn't be playing, you know, a 5. You know, and I just felt like he wasn't being utilized the way, and he's not a 2-gapper. He's not a 2-gap. He's a 1-gap penetrator. He should be playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. He shouldn't be holding up blockers, eating up space, trying to free up backers. He should be looking to make plays himself. That's what got him a first-round selection, all right? That's what got him drafted in the first round, was his ability to create havoc and disrupt up front. We didn't allow him to do that in our defensive scheme. So the John Allen at Bama was allowed to do his thing, be a one-gap penetrator, get up the field, disrupt, bad quarterbacks. He got to do what he does best. We haven't allowed him to do that consistently. I think you're going to see a reinvigorated John Allen. I think you're going to see a much better Daron Payne. I think that this is the year that all of this defensive talent that we've been harping on, I think it can come together. And we've seen flashes from John Allen. You know, the early 2018 John Allen, when we got off to that fast start, remember I did a film breakdown on John Allen, well, not just John Allen, but the defense against Green Bay. And John Allen was dominant early in that season, if you remember. John Allen had a stellar start to 2018. And then he got injured, and I think he hurt his hand or something like that, and then it just kind of waned and it kind of tailed off. He's talented, man. The guys we've spent first-round picks on are talented. I think in this new defensive scheme, you're going to start to see the best of what these guys have to offer. I'm just glad it's happening now before it was too late. So that's what I think about Bama John Allen versus Skins John Allen. I think we haven't been giving him the best opportunity to show what he's capable of. I think he's going to get to do that now with Jack Del Rio pulling the strings and the Redskins going back to a 4-3 defensive scheme. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one from Hype Dude. Thank you for the super chat, Hype Dude. Greatly appreciated. Hype Dude writes, we've been wasting money for years. Pay Trent, work with Dunn. I get it. And I told you, I don't have a problem with people that feel like we need to pay them because I want Dunny back. I told you. I want Dunny back. Even with him making these erroneous comments, wanting to be traded, demanding a trade or a release, I still want him back. And I think he wants to be here. He just wants to be paid. You're right. We've been wasting money for years. All right? We've been wasting money for years. Have the Redskins. Stephen Paya. All right? Kendall Reyes. We've been wasting money for years. All right? So we should be able to spend on our own, but it's a different regime, man. It's a different time. And so, you know, everyone's going with the mantra, in Ron we trust. I think that's the motto, that's the mantra right now. I would love to keep Dunny here, but the Redskins, if their position is we just need you to stay healthy for us to feel confident that you can be paid this money, I can't disagree with that stance. He hasn't been healthy enough to warrant a massive deal. When he's healthy, he's damn good. I can't state that enough. He just hasn't been healthy enough. Excuse me. Simple as that. As far as Trent is concerned, there's a report out there that Trent is going to come back off the strength of Ron Rivera. That he really loves the approach Ron has taken since he's come back. He loves that Ron's cleaned house. And as a man, he loves the fact that Rivera approached him and reached out to him and that he created dialogue. I don't know if Trent's just going to come back and play 1 year and just get to free agency, which is what he probably ultimately wants to do. I don't know what the Redskins' plan is. I don't know if Trent's like, yo, I want to come back, but I need you guys to pay me an extension. I don't really know how it's going to shake out. It just sounds like Trent's going to be back. That's what it sounds like. But until it happens, I'm not believing anything. You know what time it is. It's lion season. Believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me, your man, Louis T. Anyway, Hype Dude, thank you for the super chat once again. Got another super chat. This one from Beloved Rain 44. Thank you for the super chat, Beloved Rain 44, who writes, do you think Jimmy Moreland is more of an inside or an outside corner? So, I look at Jimmy Moreland and his size, and you immediately think he's a slot. You got to slide him inside to the nickel. I think Jimmy is more comfortable, however, as a boundary corner on the outside because that's where he has played for the vast majority of his football playing career when he's played the cornerback position. You look at him at James Madison, he played outside. He didn't play in the nickel very often. He was outside. He was the best guy they had, and they played him outside, and that's what he was comfortable doing. And, you know, when we watched him in the preseason, he was much better outside than he was inside. And early in the season, he struggled. And I told you, Deion Sanders, who I think is the greatest corner that these eyes have ever seen. Now, there are other guys that people talk about that were, you know, tremendous corners in their day. I didn't watch those guys. I didn't grow up in their era. I grew up in Deion Sanders' era, and he was the best corner I've ever seen in my life in terms of covering, as a pure cover corner. And not adding in tackling and all of that stuff. Just covering guys. Deion said, look, I couldn't go in the slot. It's a different world in there, man. That's a different beast. That's a different animal altogether. And I've talked about it. The slot is not for everyone. And so I'm not sure if the slot is something that, you know, he's cut out for. So when I look at Jimmy Moreland, I think he's more of an outside corner. And that's fine if that's what he is. But they've got to figure out what he is best at and let him do that. Can't force a square peg into a round hole. So I personally think he's better as a boundary corner. But maybe he just needed to become more comfortable because he was doing something he had never done before. Because early in the season, Jimmy looked lost in the slot. And so I thought he started to get a little bit better before the injury. But small sample size. So we'll see what happens. I think Jimmy is more of a boundary corner than he is a nickel. So we'll see what the Redskins decide to do with him. But once again, thank you for the super chat, beloved Rain 44. And looks like Tommy Knockers had a super chat, but he retracted the message. I'll just go ahead and thank you for the super chat anyway. Appreciate that. Once again, Tommy Knockers, thank you for the super chat. So, got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Louis, this is Calvin.
Hey, what's going on, Calvin?
Oh, nothing much. Hey, I got a question. I got a couple of questions about the draft.
Okay.
So in reference to quarterback, just I guess we're taking into consideration that Alex Smith obviously probably is not going to be available.
Right.
What direction do you think the Skins will go, you know, for a backup quarterback or you know, do you think they're going to pick someone in the draft, or do you think well, I'm pretty sure they will probably look at someone in free agency as well.
So I'm thinking you're going to be on that clearance rack in the back of the store in terms of the quarterback position. You're not going to be out here shopping at the Teddy Bridgewater rack, you know, the high-priced rack.
Right.
You know, you're going to bypass that because you already got one of those on your team in Alex Smith that you got to pay. So you're going to bypass that rack. You know, the Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, all of those guys that's on that rich rack, that's not our rack. So you're going to go all the way to the back of the store, and you're going to be shopping on that rack with, let's say, I had a list of, and I don't have my phone next to me, but it was a list. I had looked at the list of quarterbacks that were going to be free agents. It's going to be like Chase Daniel, those kind of guys. What's the guy that used to be a backup in Green Bay? Brett Hundley, those type of guys. You're going to be in that kind of a market. You know, those are the kind of guys you're going to be looking at. And that's the kind of backup quarterback the Redskins are going to acquire. And then you're going to also probably see the Redskins sign an undrafted rookie. You know, maybe a late 7th round, you know, pick. If they like a guy and they had a 5th round grade on him and he's sitting there in the 7th round, you know, maybe they take a quarterback in the later rounds. But for the most part, you're going to see the Redskins sign someone in free agency, most likely. Again, this is all dependent on Alex Smith's health. If Alex Smith shows them that he's healthy enough to compete and he wants to play, that may change the Redskins' mindset in free agency. I still think they're going to acquire a young quarterback, whether it's an undrafted guy or a late draft pick, whatever the case may be. This guy won't be a threat to Dwayne Haskins, but it'll be someone that they want to develop, like they did, once upon a time with Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah. Now, not necessarily Redskins related, but Joe Burrow. You watched him during the college season. What did you think of him, and do you think he's more or less a one-year wonder?
I'm about to actually start my draft prospects one-on-one series. He's the first guy I'm going to do. And I'll just give you a spoiler alert. He's really good. Okay. Now, he took a massive step from his junior season to his senior year. His first year at LSU, he was okay, but he didn't seem like he was, this kind of quarterback.
Right.
And then he got really comfortable. They switched offensive play callers. Joe Brady got the nod, and they just clicked. He was more comfortable in year two. They had some electric playmakers, Jamar Chase, all those guys,
right.
Jefferson. I mean, they were loaded. And he was the maestro, man. He's really good. Just know that.
Well, I also know he's
really
kind of old, too, because he's older than Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, because remember, he transferred. So,
yeah.
He was in school for, I think, 5 years.
And he didn't beat out
Dwayne Haskins, right,
at Ohio State.
Right. So, I mean, there are going to be questions, but what he did this year, you can't deny it. It
was spectacular. I'm just skeptical as far as how good he
really is.
He will be.
Yeah.
Without Joe Brady.
We're going to see. I mean, my thing is, all of these guys, there are no guarantees. You know what I mean? But this guy's really good, man. He has the chance to turn things around.
What do you think the Skins will do? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm pretty sure you may have touched on this already as far as tight end in the draft. Mm-hmm. Do you think that they will be looking for someone, in the third round and beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the first round, especially with us not having a second. Yeah. I think that's the first round the Redskins really start digging into tight end. Obviously, best player available at that point is, between tackle and, tight end, depending on the Trent situation, what you're going to do. But if Trent's back, and they'll know by then if Trent's going to play or not this year.
Right.
And they would have already kind of cleaned up a lot of things. I think tight end, it becomes even more paramount if you don't get a guy in free agency. I think we're good. Being that Jordan Reed has been released, and we knew that was going to happen, and Vernon Davis retired, and we don't have anyone. They're going to sign someone in free agency. May not be who you want, but they're going to sign somebody in free agency.
Right.
And then I think the third round is where you have to target it. Because I don't think this is a very deep tight end crop. I don't. So last year was just ridiculous. It was over-flooded with talented tight ends. That I remember I said this last year that if I were the Redskins, knowing the situation, Vernon Davis getting up there in age, Jeremy Sprinkle no better than a third tight end at best in this league, and knowing Jordan Reed's injury history, I would have taken a tight end last year. But they didn't do that. Yeah. And so I think you have to attack tight end early this year. And we'll see what they decide to do. I think the third round is where you need to get your tight end if you're the Redskins.
Well, I heard Logan Paulson. He was on John Kime's podcast a couple of days ago, and he spoke about a tight end. I think the tight end was either out of UCLA or Stanford, but he said that if he could compare him to anyone, he'd be a bigger version, maybe just slightly a step down from Jordan Reed.
I know he's not talking about Colby Parkinson. That's the Stanford tight end. It might be at UCLA. I haven't seen anybody at UCLA, so I can't really comment on that. I just know the Stanford tight end, he's pretty solid, Colby Parkinson.
Yeah, He did mention a Stanford tight end, but I think he may have been the UCLA tight end that he said was a bigger version of what Jordan Reed is, and not quite as he's similar to Jordan Reed in athleticism, but not quite as athletic as he is.
Right. Yeah,
but he's about 260 pounds, is what he said.
He's a big boy then, because Jordan Reed was nowhere near 260.
And one more thing, Bryce Love, what do you think the Skins will do, as far as him this upcoming season? Do you think he'll play the Chris Thompson role, or?
Yeah. I think, with them bringing AD back and the guys presumably healthy coming off of injury, that's your 1-2 punch. And then whatever carries they don't eat up, whatever snaps they don't eat up, you throw Bryce Love in there and you try to get him the football. So absolutely, I think he is in that Chris Thompson role. Now you got to keep in mind that this isn't Jay Gruden's offense, and that they may have a bigger role for Bryce Love or a smaller role for Bryce Love. He is coming back off of 2 surgeries. So, they may want to work him back extremely slow and cautiously. We'll see what happens. One thing's for sure. In Carolina, they had a do-it-all back in Christian McCaffrey. There was really that many other snaps for other guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they feel like they have to employ another guy. If Geis proves to them he can be a third down back, maybe Darius Geis gets more of those third down options. And there's not a lot of touches for Bryce Love, but I'd like to think that, with the speed that he brings to the table and his game-breaking ability, you got to find ways to get him on the field. So I would think he would get that Chris Thompson role.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I definitely would agree with that.
Yep.
Well, Louis, thank you for taking my call, and
no doubt.
Again, continue doing what you're doing. Really appreciate the updates and things like that. As a fellow Redskins fan, it's much appreciated.
Hey, I thank you guys for all that you guys do as well, man. Appreciate you chiming in as always. Very thoughtful, insightful call, man. You take it easy. Have a good one.
You too.
Yep. All right, back to the super chats. I see a couple popping up, so we're gonna go ahead and knock these down. All right, so my man Andrew Thompson, AT, appreciate the super chat, Andrew, greatly appreciate the super chat. You always bless me every single time, and I thank you so much. And so AT writes, do you still think we only get Sheriff or Flowers back? I think we have enough cap space to sign Sheriff, Flowers, and Trent, plus some money left for free agents. Be nice to get that O-line locked in. So I think that the Redskins are going to try to get Sheriff back. Flowers, I think it's one or the other still, because I feel like if you're going to spend big money on Sheriff, which if you're going to get Sheriff back on a long-term deal, I think initially the Redskins are going to have to franchise tag Brandon Sheriff if they want to work out a long-term deal. I don't think they're going to Kirk Cousins him where he's playing under the franchise tag. I think it's going to be a long-term deal, but if they don't want him to hit free agency and then get into a bidding war with other teams, they're going to have to slap the franchise tag on him. That being said, if you want Sheriff back, and I think they really do, you drafted this guy in the first round. He should be one of these pillar, building block type of players moving forward. He's young, he's tough, he's durable, he's physical, he's no nonsense. He's everything you want this team to be on the offensive line. I feel like you got to bring Sheriff back. And if you're going to spend on Sheriff, then you need to be able to cut a corner somewhere. And I don't even care if it's only $9 million for, Eric Flowers on a 3-year, $27 million deal. If you can cut a corner, you cut a corner. Let somebody else pay Eric Flowers that money, all right? And you promote Wes Martin as a rookie on a rookie deal into that guard position, and you keep it moving. And I think that's what the Redskins are going to do. It's one or the other for me. I don't anticipate them re-signing both of those guys and Trent and still going out and shopping in free agency. I think if you're going to bring Sheriff back, it's going to be a massive deal. If you're going to bring Trent back, I still think it's going to either be a fully guaranteed last year of his deal, or it's going to be a multi-year deal extension for Trent. That's going to cost you as well. You just saw DJ Humphries get paid by the Arizona Cardinals, and you saw his deal was right around 15 per, I think it was, something like that. 3 years, like $45 million, so I think it was like 15 per, something along those lines. Trent's going to look at that and say, okay, I'm better than DJ Humphries. pay me, 15, 16, 17 annual. So we'll see what happens there. And then, if you still want to go shopping, you want to put some of those free agents in your cart, that's going to cost you some money too. So, yes, I still think, to answer your question, it's going to be Sheriff or Flowers. I don't think it's going to be and I think the one they want back is Sheriff. And I think they're willing to pay what it's going to take to get him here. And then I think with what Wes Martin showed us at the end of the season, I think they're going to feel comfortable moving on from one of these guards and inserting Wes Martin into the lineup. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, thank you for the super chat. And it would be nice to get this O-line locked in. You hate playing musical chairs. You hate having a bunch of different starting combinations. You'd like to just know who your 5 guys up front are going to be and hope that they stay healthy and hope that you get that continuity that you need to be successful up front. But sometimes you got to be malleable up front, like the 49ers were last year. They had injuries galore along their offensive line, but you know what they did? They drafted well, and guys stepped in, and they didn't miss a beat. That's what we have to continue to do, because even if we get Trent back, there's no guarantee Trent's going to play 16. I can't tell you the last time Trent played all 16. All right? I can't tell you the last time Brandon Sheriff played all 16, okay? We've got guys that miss games, so you got to have some depth. So I think the Redskins also need to be, and I don't know if Javon Christian is adequate depth anymore. I'm not sure anymore. So we'll see what happens. But once again, thank you for the super chat, Andrew Thompson. Tommy Knockers, appreciate the super chat once again. Tommy Knockers, greatly appreciate your contribution. Tommy Knockers writes, our running backs situation, he says, our running back situation seems a little awkward being that AP is our only healthy back. What should we do with our running back stable? I think we do nothing with the running backs. I don't know if Josh Ferguson is still on the roster, but I like what he showed at the end of the season. I told you I'd love for him to get an invite to camp if he's still around. And you got AD, you got Geis. Geis is going to be healthy before the season starts. All right, barring any kind of setback, Darius Geis is going to be healthy. He's probably already healthy right now, so I'm not worried about him. And then you get Bryce Love back, so I think that running back is going to be just fine. If the Redskins wanted to add another guy in there, it wouldn't be a primetime premier guy. It'd be a third down kind of scat back type of guy if you didn't believe that Bryce Love was going to be ready to go. But again, that guy could be Josh Ferguson already on the roster. Again, running back isn't one of those positions you're looking to spend any money on. So, and I don't think you're looking to spend any draft capital there either. Not right now with Darius Geis still being a young guy and Bryce Love being a young guy. I just don't think that's a position right now that you're looking to invest anything into. Money, draft capital, anything. I think you go with the status quo right now. You got one more year AD. If Geis can't stay healthy this year, then you got to move on. You may keep him for that final year of his rookie deal, but you're going to start looking for a guy that can be your bell cow. And then Bryce Love should be able to show you something this year. He may not be 100%. When you have the kind of injury he had and, you have a little bit of a setback, whatever the case may be, you give that guy some time. So we may not see the true Bryce Love that was a Heisman Trophy front runner back in 2018. We may not see that guy until the 2021 season. But we need to see flashes in 2020. And I think we will. So I feel good about our running back situation. I don't think they do anything. And I told you, I'd actually like to take a look at Josh Ferguson. I was actually quite impressed with him at the end of the season. I don't even know if he's still on the roster or not. So don't quote me on that. I'd have to actually go and look. But I thought he did some really good things towards the back end of the season. And I'd like to take another hard, long look at him as well. But I don't think the Redskins need to do anything at running back as it stands. Now, obviously, it's subject to change if there are injuries. But as of right now, I don't think anything needs to be done. Tommy Knockers, once again, thank you for the super chat. Andrew Thompson, doubling up. Appreciate the super chat. AT, good looking out, man. I really appreciate your contribution. AT writes, don't forget I was super chatting before it was popular, LOL. I appreciate all the time and effort, Lou. Of course you were. That's why I had to acknowledge you as my guy, because you were taking care of me when super chatting still was, relatively new. People weren't really doing it yet. And now it's becoming all the rage, and I love it. Want more of it. But I definitely appreciate you, AT, and I appreciate all that you do for this channel. So thank you once again for your super chat. Blackskin HTTR writes, first of all, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. And you doubling it up as well. I think this might even be your third one. All right. But you're another one that generally I get a super chat from you on these live streams as well. So thank you for your contributions as well. Blackskin HTTR writes, number one, Justin Simmons or Harris from the Vikings. So you know how I feel about Justin Simmons. I think the Broncos, I keep omitting him because I just don't see. I did the same thing with Austin Hooper. I didn't want to talk about Austin Hooper because I just didn't see any way the Falcons were going to allow him to walk. I see the same thing with the Denver Broncos. They'd be a damn fool to let Justin Simmons walk away. And if I know Vic Fangio the way I think I know Vic Fangio, he values safeties. He values guys like Simmons, young, in the prime of his career, stud. I just can't see any way that Justin Simmons... Trust me, if Simmons is available and the Broncos don't re-sign him, I want him just as much as I want Anthony Harris. You know how I feel about Justin Simmons. I told you, he's the most underrated safety in the entire National Football League. Nobody talks about Justin Simmons. Nobody's giving this guy the credit he deserves. And all he does is ball and make plays. Love Justin Simmons. If you ask me to choose between the two, I'd probably go Anthony Harris still because I think he's the perfect complement to what we already have in Landon Collins. But you can't go wrong with either one of those guys. Justin Simmons is just as good a free safety as Anthony Harris. He may even be better. I just think that Anthony Harris is a true free, whereas, and in today's NFL, you want guys that can rock and roll, and Justin Simmons can rock and roll. He can come up around the line of scrimmage. He can play away from the line of scrimmage. He can drop over the slot. I love Justin Simmons. I think that guy's a stud. I just don't think Denver would be foolish to let him walk. Simple as that. And I just don't see any way that they allow him to walk. And he's outperformed his rookie contract, and I think he's got a major payday ahead of him. I love Justin Simmons. So I would take Harris from the Vikings still, but that's 1A, 1B for me. But I don't want to get my hopes up for Justin Simmons, so I haven't talked about him. I just have left him alone because I don't think he's going to be available. But number two, Blackskin HTTR says, do you think Josh Harvey-Clemens could be our cover linebacker in the 4-3? He could be an option at weak side linebacker. I think that he's going to get a look in this defense with Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. For whatever reason, last year, Josh Harvey-Clemens wasn't getting any looks. And I don't know if he was injured. I don't know what happened to Josh Harvey-Clemens, but he kind of just faded to black last season. And we were talking about him heavy in the preseason, and then it just was nothing. But he can run. And I told you Rivera talked about all these linebackers that can run that the Redskins currently have. He's one of them. All right, Josh Harvey-Clemens can run. Sean Deion Hamilton can run. Reuben Foster, when healthy, can run. Cole Holcomb can run. We've got athletically gifted linebackers now. Again, not something we used to be able to say. Now we can say with confidence, we have guys that can run. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Redskins decide to do. Is Josh Harvey-Clemens a guy that even makes this football team? But I think he's going to have a shot. He's going to have a shot. And we just signed another linebacker that Ron Rivera brought from Carolina as his core special teamer. So that's one less linebacker spot because that guy's most likely going to make this football team, barring any kind of unforeseen circumstances like an injury. They didn't bring him here for no reason. They're going to give him a chance to compete. If they feel like he's a special teams maven, which is what he was for the Panthers when Ron Rivera was there, they probably expect the same from him here. You're going to have to outperform that guy on special teams or he's going to be here. It means there's one less spot for a guy like a Josh Harvey-Clemens on this roster. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Redskins do at the linebacker position. And then number three, Blackskin HTTR writes, Lamar Jackson, third pick, cornerback, Nebraska. So he's asking about the cornerback out of Nebraska, Lamar Jackson, as a third round selection. It'll be interesting because right now the only position that I know the Redskins will be in desperate and dire need of come the third round of the draft is tight end. You know, I can't see the Redskins going out and acquiring 2 tight ends in free agency. They're only going to come away with 1, and 1's not enough. You need 2. So I'm thinking tight end is definitely a need. By the time we get to the draft, cornerback may not be a need. You know, you may have went out and signed 2 guys. You got Fabian Moreau, you got Jimmy Moreland, and all of a sudden you feel good about the depth that you have in the secondary. You may not be looking for a 3rd-round corner. You may be looking for a 6th or a 7th-round corner at that point to add depth. Who's to say? You know, right now we don't really know what that situation is, but there are going to be a number of different names that pop up when you start talking cornerback position in this draft, and you know where the Redskins should start looking for one if in fact they are in the running for one, if they're out in need of a corner. So thank you for the super chat, Blackskin HTTR, greatly appreciate it. My resident Utah Redskins fan, Justin Hodge, thank you for the super chat. And you're another one of those loyal subscribers and viewers that blesses me with a super chat just about every one of these live streams. So once again, I want to thank you and Andrew Thompson and Blackskin HTTR and all of you guys that constantly send super chats. Greatly appreciate it. And all the other guys and gals out there that send super chats. Thank you so much. But Justin says, it's your resident Utah Redskins fan. How is the snow? It's actually, I think it's still coming down. As I look out my window, yeah, it's still snowing right now. It's been coming down since 2:30, and it's been consistent. However, it's not really sticking because it's like a wintry mix. It was heavy snow early on, but temperature's not all that cold. It's probably like 36, 37 degrees. It's going to drop a little bit lower. It's supposed to continue to snow until around 2 a.m. and then stop. But that's when you get into that black ice territory. So we'll see what's going on. He says, when will we see the draft prospects breakdown video? Kerrigan, Williams, Sheriff, Dunbar, pick number 1. All right, so Draft Prospects 101 series is going to start next week. I'm either next week or the week after. So here's my thought process. You've got the combine next week. I'm going to cover the combine like I always do. So I don't know if dropping the videos prior to the combine is a good idea because I'll pretty much be spending so much time on that. But definitely after the combine has met its conclusion, we'll jump into the Draft Prospects 101 and we'll be moving quickly. So I'm thinking it'll be next week that we jump into the Draft Prospects 101, but it could be the week after. Either way, it's coming. Trust me. And once it hits, we're going to be moving so quickly with these prospects. We're going to be doing videos, live streams. It's gonna be really, really serious. So strap up because we about to hit the ground running with this Draft Prospects 101 series. So I was trying to find a more efficient way to do it because it's a lot of work, and because I'm showing college football tape, I can't get any revenue generated from it. So it's a lot of work. It's not a lot of reward from a financial standpoint. So I was trying to find a way to be a little bit more efficient with my time. So I think I found a way to do that. We'll see how it goes. But it's going to be a little bit of a different format. But hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Kerrigan, Williams, Sheriff, Dunbar, and pick 1. If I had to pick one out of that group to keep on the team, I would probably go with that's tough. It would either be Sheriff or Dunbar. Like, I love Trent, want Trent back, but Trent's in the twilight years of his career now. You know, Trent's on the wrong side of 30. So, and I don't know, he could have 5, 6, good years left in him. Who's to say? Tackles can play for a very long time if they take care of their bodies. You see Andrew Whitworth out there in LA playing another year. Like, you can play a long time in this league if you take care of your body. That being said, if Williams is healthy, and nobody knows this, and you could get 4 or 5 more quality years out of him, then I'd take Trent Williams. But I just don't know if that's the case. So Sheriff is a young bull. I think that's a guy that I definitely would consider. I love Dunny, man. Both Dunny and Sheriff have been banged up the last 2 years. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I would go with Sheriff just because he's the kind of guy you want in the locker room. Dunny, being outspoken just now, and he kind of rubbed people the wrong way. I think Sheriff is the guy that I would go with out of that mix. So if you tell me Trent is healthy, and we still don't know how healthy Trent is, then I would go with Trent. But if you're talking long term, there's more years, more good football left in Brandon Sheriff. Conceivably, if I'm drawing inference, just going off of age and health, I would think that there's more football left in Brandon Sheriff, good football, than Trent Williams. So I would go with Sheriff out of that core group of guys. Thanks again for the super chat, Justin Hodge. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see if we have any more super chats. All right. So that one's Justin. And got Justin again, actually. All right. Cool beans. So Justin Hodge, thank you for double up, on the super chat. And Justin Hodge writes, Madalena has to go. I'm not sure me and the other will moderate for you as you go. Okay. All right. I'll take care of that right now. And sorry about that. All right. Appreciate you, man. And I'm gonna work on getting some mods for the channel. Gotta work on that. So anyway, appreciate the super chat, Justin. Appreciate you taking care of that. And now let's get to some calls. Got a call. Gonna go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
What's going on, Louis? JP. Finally, I got in.
What's going on, JP?
I'm good, man. How are you holding up?
I'm great, brother.
I tried to get in for a while, man. The lines are busy as hell. I knew this was going to be a hot show, though.
Yeah, been getting a ton of super chats, so.
So anyway, I got a little bit of a comment about the Jordan Reed release and a couple of questions for you. I'll start with the thing about Jordan Reed. Man, that dude was so talented, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm heartbroken that he's gone. I'm sad to see him go. He gave us pretty damn good memories. Would have been one of the best tight ends in the league if he was healthy. But he's got to honestly think about his long-term health. I was a massive Jordan Reed fan. I know you've probably known me for the last several years, ever since I started following your channel. You know I'm a massive Jordan Reed fan. Loved the guy to death. Thought he was talented. Thought he had a bright future, but the damn injuries. You know what really is kind of saddening, though? When he signed that ginormous contract, I think it was 2017. I think it was after the 2016 season. Mm-hmm. When he got that contract, he just, I don't know what it is, but he just went completely downhill with the injuries. I don't think he fell off skill-wise. He just couldn't stay on the field.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Right. That's pretty accurate. And it didn't help that the whole Kirk Cousins situation. Him and Kirk had good chemistry, and that didn't help either. That, he tried to, he was healthy for a good part of 2018, and he just never really connected with Alex Smith. And then he got hurt, and so, yeah. This bottom line is, as you mentioned, he couldn't stay healthy, man. That was the bottom line.
It hurts. It honestly hurts. But the fortunate thing is,
made a lot of money in his career. He's going to have a chance to be one. He said he wants to keep playing. My opinion is I don't think he should, because I think he has a serious concussion history. I think he's had like 6 or 7 of them. Mm-hmm. And the danger is that one more hit to the head could potentially turn him into a vegetable or worse. Definitely don't want to see that. I'm just praying that he won't have to spend the rest of his life battling CTE with all these other players. And I'm honestly still really upset that he got hurt in the preseason. I know I'm not a guy who likes to hold on to the past, but I still think about that hit Keanu Neal laid on him to this day.
Yeah, and I remember there were a lot of Redskins fans that didn't even want him playing in the preseason. And look, if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. It's the NFL. You can't put bubble wrap on these guys. I wasn't one of these people that didn't want to see him play in the preseason. I understood what he was capable of, but, you know, I wanted him to get a couple reps, get a series under his belt, and, you know, he got hurt. It was what it was. It's unfortunate. That hit could have happened in week 2. It could have happened in week 6. With the way he plays, his style of play, it was going to happen. Because that's just Jordan Reed. So my thing with him is you hate that he wasn't able to showcase his skills often enough. The guy's uber talented, but at the end of the day, it's much bigger than football. You know, London Fletcher said he wishes him nothing but the best, but he wishes that he would hang it up, because there is life after football. But when you've been doing something for your entire life, you love it, and you feel, because this is the thing about concussions. It's not like you've got a hurt leg or a busted elbow or, you know, a shoulder that's nagging you. With a concussion, you know, once the symptoms go away, you feel fine. So it's not like he's walking around here thinking about, you know, concussions. It's different than if you have a bum knee or you have a bad back or something like that, where you feel it and you know, man, I can't do the things I used to do. He feels perfectly fine, like he can do everything that he could do 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And he can. Because physically, from a, you know, arms, legs, shoulder, you know, from a physical standpoint, he's the same Jordan Reed. It's mentally that we're worried about. So in his mind, he's thinking, I can still do everything at a very high level. I can still play this game, and I want to win. And so he's going to go out there and he's going to try to find another place to play and win.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I wouldn't advise it, but that's just me. Anyway, I got a couple of questions. Also, actually, before I get to the questions, I want to know how you feel about this. There was this thing put out on Instagram on the Redskins today. I don't know if you follow that. There's been reports that the Redskins organization is operating much more smoothly since the firing of Bruce Allen. And I talked to Redskins fans about this. See what happens when you fire the most toxic executive in all of football. The organization operates a lot normally, and that's without Nosy Dan putting his nose in the business in the football side of things. And this is what fans want. We want a stable organization. We want a culture here that guys and that players and coaches want to be a part of. And they're just sick and tired of the dysfunctions. It's been too long, and, you know, the fans are getting tired of it. And to hear that news that we're operating like a normal organization since Bruce's ousting, that's really, really refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that actually goes without saying. Like, I didn't think that needed to be said. Like, that's what we expected to hear after, you know, he got fired. That was the point. That's why we wanted him fired.
Exactly. So now I'll ask you these questions, and then I'll probably let you go. I don't know how much longer you have on the show, but first question, I want to know how you felt about how Landon Collins played in his first season with the Redskins. Mm-hmm. And 2, would you be open to adding Chris Harris Jr. from the Denver Broncos mostly because of the relationship he had with Jack Del Rio in Denver, and he was one of those, and they won a Super Bowl together, and Jack Del Rio really helped Chris Harris realize his potential in that secondary on that defense that was one of the best in the league at one point. So
yeah, so I'm gonna take your 2 comments off air. Hey, I appreciate you, JP, and maybe you can get back in later if you got more.
yeah, I'm gonna try again. Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, no problem. Later.
All right.
So JP asked about the Redskins in free agency. Well, obviously, Chris Harris is on the art for this video, so definitely I think the Redskins are interested. I'm interested if you're asking about me, of course. But I think there's mutual interest between the Redskins and Chris Harris Jr. I think if Del Rio has anything to say about it, he knows what Chris Harris is capable of. They've watched the tape. He hasn't fallen off. He's still a damn good corner in this league, and I think the Redskins are definitely still interested in getting a guy like Chris Harris Jr. I'm trying to recall the first question that he asked. I'm trying to play it back in my mind. What JP asked about can't really remember the first question. It'll come to me though. I'll play it back in my mind and it'll come to me. But I really think that the Redskins want to upgrade the cornerback position. I think Chris Harris Jr. is a guy that kind of fits a lot of what the Redskins want to do, and he's versatile. He can do a lot of different things. It wouldn't surprise me if the Redskins go aggressively after a guy like Chris Harris Jr., but we will see. Anyway, got a super chat super chat. So let's get to that. It's from my man Tommy Knockers again. So Tommy Knockers knocking on the door again. Appreciate you, Tommy Knockers, and your super chat. Greatly appreciated. He says, "Hey Louie, just realized the retraction earlier, so this is for my mistake. I appreciate you and you have a new fan. God bless." Thank you so much, Tommy Knockers. Welcome aboard. You will not be disappointed. I promise. So thank you so much for your super chat yet again. And there is another super chat. Blackskin HTTR, you are killing it tonight, my man. Thank you once again for the super chat. Blackskin HTTR writes, "I'm in San Diego, California. Shout out to Winston, a Redskins bar in San Diego. But Louie, I'm very proud of you, black man. Keep up the work. I'll continue to support HTTR." Please appreciate all of that, man. Appreciate every single bit of it. Appreciate the super chats. Appreciate the support. Watching the streams. Watching the various programs that I put out. Liking the videos. I appreciate all that you provide for the movement. So thank you so much. All the way from the left coast, man. Thank you for what you do and what you provide for the Louis T Network. So I greatly appreciate you and everyone else that supports this brand. So thank you again. Let's see now. Got a call. I'm going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Lou. This is Justin, your Utah resident Redskins fan. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Justin, man? Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, too, man. Hey, just letting you know, I had a couple questions. Been good content tonight. A couple things, comes to the moderators. We've had to kick, 2 or 3 people out tonight, whatever.
Right.
Hit me up, on a PM. We'll get that taken care of.
Okay.
Secondly, somebody stole my thought in the same way, and I want you to elaborate a little bit more on it. Obviously, running backs are becoming devalued and kind of a dime a dozen in the league this day. We got, thank God, we signed AD back. That's a good thing. But we got Geis, who's injury prone.
Right.
We got Love, but I ain't too sold on him.
Right.
I'll let you go right after this. Should we pick somebody up in the draft, or because running backs are such, just known commodities in the league these days, should we just wait? You know what I mean? Because we only got 1 or 2 years with AD left. Maybe I don't know, maybe a year or two with Geis if he can stay healthy because he's getting old now. Should we pick somebody up in the draft? Do we attack free agency, or do we just wait? I'll let you go after this, but wanted to give you a call and a shout-out, boy, and appreciate everything you do, and go out there and eat some snow before it all melts.
Hey, appreciate you, Justin, man. Take care, and thank you for all your super chats, all your support, and definitely we'll get out there and get to the snow if it doesn't melt.
We got you, brother. Have a good one, man.
Hey, take care. Likewise.
Bye.
All right, so Justin asked about the running back. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but just to reiterate, and he said someone had stole his thunder, so forgive me if I'm repeating things that I've said before, but I wouldn't do anything. Running back to me is, unless otherwise notified, unless they know something we don't as far as Bryce Love's recovery process or Geis had a setback, unless something like that transpires, I think you don't have to do anything at running back right now. Between AD, Geis, Bryce Love, and again, I told you, I really liked what I saw to Josh Ferguson. Don't really know if he is actually on the roster still or not. I'm going to actually look that up tonight so that I can stop saying I don't know if he's still on the roster or not. But I liked what I saw out of him at the end of the season. If he's still on the roster, he's a guy that I think you could work into the mix as well. But at the end of the day, we're fine at running back, okay? Unless otherwise notified, you don't do anything. And like Justin said, you got 1 to 2 years with just about every single one of these guys. So you can get by this season. And if you need to do something at running back, you can do it next year. All right? There'll be backs available next year in free agency and in the draft. And so you'll be fine. You don't have to do anything rash right now. That's why you bring back AD, because he's not making a ton of money and he's a quality, durable back. You know he's going to be on the field just about every single week. All right? Guys, you'd like to see him stay healthy. You've seen flashes of what this guy's capable of, just needs to stay healthy. So if he can finally stay healthy, you feel good about that 1-2 punch. And then you got Bryce Love, a guy that, again, you want to bring along slowly. Don't want to rush him back. So if he can stay healthy, you feel good about those three guys as your stable of backs. So I don't think you need to do anything at the running back position, if you ask me. So, got another call. Going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Louis? Jay Wills here.
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I just want to ask you, man, what do you think is the number one priority for the Skins this offseason? Is it corner or the O-line?
Well, you really want to solidify the offensive line first. And you can do that by just taking care of your own. If you bring back Sheriff or Flowers, and really if you bring back Sheriff and you get Trent back, your line is set because you can insert Wes Martin and then you got your starting five right there. You got to protect Dwayne. You got to protect your investment. You spent the first round pick on Dwayne Haskins. You want him to be the guy, then you need to be able to provide proper protection for him. So to me, offensive line, if you're talking offensive side of the football, that's the most important offseason need, is to make sure the offensive line is intact.
I agree. I mean, I think Sheriff, and if we can get Trent back, I mean, and if we can, with the Wes Martin and Ross, I can't pronounce his name.
Pierce Baker, yeah.
Yeah, I think those guys, up and coming, but I think Sheriff has to be our priority to bring back.
Yeah, I think you bring back Sheriff, and if you get Trent back, you're looking at a line that looks eerily similar to the one that we started the 2017 season, I believe, with. 2018, it might have been 2018 that we started the season with, minus Wes Martin, of course, but you would be looking from left to right: Trent Williams, Wes Martin, Chase Roulier, Brandon Sheriff, and Morgan Moses. You can win with that offensive line. If they're healthy, you can win with that group right there. So,
I see that easy. I mean, possibly top 5 offensive line if they stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I know they can get the job done. I feel really confident about those guys. If, like you said, if they can stay healthy, I feel really good about those 5 being out on the field.
Yeah, and then, the other side of the line, for a question, I'm a firm believer we got to take Chase Young number 2. I mean, and if with Chase Young and Montez Sweat coming off the edge and Deron Payne and in the middle and
Jonathan Allen?
Allen in the middle. I mean, that's one of the most dominant of our defensive lines that I think we've had since the 80s with Manley and Man on the corners, don't you think?
Yeah. And Dave Butts and all those guys. Yeah, I mean, bottom line is this defense has a chance with the coaching that it's going to have this year. For the first time in a long time, we actually got really good coaches defensively. Like, we haven't had good defensive coaching since Greg Williams was here. And Greg Lotch was our defensive coordinator.
Jack Del Rio's top notch.
Yeah, I feel good about where we are organizationally. I feel good about where we are staff-wise. And this offseason, we have a really good shot with the amount of cap space we have to feel good about where we are roster-wise, which is not something we've been able to say for the last 3 years or so. But we've got a legitimate shot at putting together a product that will give you a shot week in and week out. So looking forward to it. Hey, man, I appreciate the phone call.
Man.
Thank you for chiming in.
No problem, man. I mean, one last little thing. We have not had so many young players on cheap deals that we can go out and have this much cap space. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Take care.
You too, man. Take it easy. Love the show.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that.
Bye-bye.
He's right. And that's the point of having so much young talent is that it's cheap labor. It allows you to have the amount of cap space the Redskins have. Now, eventually, if you draft well, you got to pay these guys when their contracts are up. And that's why we got this much cap space. I don't know if you guys have noticed. The reason we have this cap space is because we haven't been re-signing the guys that we've drafted. They're playing elsewhere now. The Bashad Breelands, the Jamison Crowders, the Preston Smiths of the world, those guys are playing elsewhere. The Spencer Longs, they go elsewhere and play. Not saying that they turned into world beaters where they went, but we haven't been paying our guys that we've drafted. And God forbid the second round. It's been a curse for us. We haven't gotten the second round right at all. So we got to start taking care of our own guys. That's what we have to start doing. So anyway, it's 10:30, so we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, which is usually my cutoff. So with that being said, and Mark McKnight, thank you. He says Josh Ferguson is still on the Redskins roster. So I like him. And that gives me even more confidence that we don't need to go out and do anything because I saw something from him as well. And so don't think we need to do anything at the running back position. I'm going to take this last call, and then we're going to get out of here. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Louis? It's your honor, man, from D.C.
What's going on?
I'm so blessed, brother. I love the show, first and foremost. Two quick questions. Number one, you are under the impression that Chase Young is definitely the pick going forward, correct?
Correct.
Is it safe to say, or is there any part of your mind thinking that maybe the Bengals might take that? And if so, where do we go from there? Because if he's a generational talent like everyone feels, why would they pass that?
Because they don't have a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, generational talent or not, you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a shot in this league. And so you can't ensure that you're going to be the number one pick in the draft next year. What they are certain of is that they're the number one pick right now. So if you got a chance to get a quarterback and the one that you want, you got to take that while you're there because next year they could have the fourth pick in the draft and you're not getting Trevor Lawrence at number 4. So instead of having to give up a bunch of draft capital to move up if the team that is drafting number 1 already has a quarterback, instead of doing that, you just take a quarterback now. So they're going to take quarterback. They haven't come out and said it publicly, but I've heard multiple reports. I actually believe this, that they've already made up their mind internally. They're taking Joe Burrow. They've already said that. Now, Joe Burrow has not committed, and he sounds like a guy that doesn't want to play in Cincinnati, and I don't blame him, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have any choice. He claims he has leverage. Okay, sure. You have leverage. I'd like to see you exert that force and your leverage, because if Cincinnati drafts you, you cannot play, and you'll have to sit out a whole year in order to go back into the draft, but you damn sure ain't playing for nobody else, so unless they decide to trade you. So I don't know if he has leverage. If to answer your question, though, hypothetically speaking, let's say they take Chase Young. I already said the Redskins are in a no-lose position. They're in a win-win, because either you get Chase Young, the generational pass rusher that we all think is going to tear the league apart, or you get a opportunity to trade number 2 to some quarterback-starving, needy team that will do anything to come up and get their hands on Joe Burrow. I don't think you can lose in this particular situation. And
that's very well said. I'm sorry, one more. I'm sorry to waste your time. Thank you. I don't follow the league like you do. I only follow my beloved Redskins.
Yeah.
I don't know the in-depth week-by-week injury report, but I think it's safe to say the Redskins suffer more injuries than any other team. If that's the case, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about that, do you think, what is it about the Redskins team that creates so many injuries? Was it Bruce Allen? Like, what is it? Is it their daily regimen? Why does the injuries happen here so often? Guys could be healthy for years in Tennessee. They come to D.C. and then they're injured.
yeah, I mean, Redskins are among, one of the most injury-plagued teams. The Chargers are right there. There are other teams that have issues staying healthy, but, it's hard to put your finger on it, man. Like, a lot of people thought it was the staff, the medical staff, the training staff, a combination of the two.
Is that even possible?
It is. It could be. I mean, obviously, if you're putting these guys on workout regimens that don't lend itself to keeping them in a position to not, pull a hamstring. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Some of that could be, some of the blame could be placed on, the staff. But at the end of the day, football is a physically demanding sport, man, and it's a luck of the draw thing with injuries, because you can have a guy like Larry Fitzgerald play his entire career and not have a major injury. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure you know who that is. You may not, but Larry Fitzgerald, the first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah, I figured you did. First ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver, never been injured in his career in the NFL. Like it's just luck of the draw. Then you looked at Calvin Johnson, who was this big, unstoppable force, and he was hurt all the time because he was so big. But, Larry Fitzgerald isn't a small guy either. So it just is one of those sports where the more you prepare yourself, the better shape you're in, the better chance you give yourself. But these are tightly wound athletes, and so you got to put together a workout regimen that kind of helps them stay healthy. But at the end of the day, you can do all you want training wise. That's not going to stop you from, having a turned ankle, a sprained ankle when a 300-pounder falls on you in a pile. Like, that's just football. Stuff happens.
Okay. So it's nothing with the culture or the staff. It's nothing in the building that's making us just riddled with injuries.
I mean, I think there is a little bit to that. I wouldn't put it 100% on that, the staff. But, I can tell you this much. We probably have more guys have surgery and then have to go back and have another surgery than any other team in the league. That's the problem, and that's where you start pointing the fingers at the medical staff.
Dan Snyder is pretty cheap, so I wouldn't deny if he just sending them to hospitals. Thanks, Louis G. I appreciate it, Sean. I learned so much watching.
Hey,
Thank
no
you, brother.
problem. Hey, take care. So I got a super chat, and after that super chat, there's one more super chat. We'll get out of here. So, The Blocker. Appreciate the super chat once again from The Blocker, coming back and doubling down. He says, what do we do with our third-round pick? Tight end, safety, offensive line, cornerback, or wide receiver? Again, hard to say because free agency really tells the story. When you get through free agency and you see what the improvements the team has made in specific areas, then you are able to really pinpoint, okay, this is what we need. We didn't get it in free agency. All right, this is what we need in the draft. So when I look at the third round pick, for me right now, tight end is the clear-cut favorite. Of all those positions you've got up there, tight end, safety, offensive line, cornerback, wide receiver, for me, tight end is the clear-cut favorite because I fully expect the Redskins to do something at the cornerback position. It wouldn't shock me if they doubled down at the cornerback position. They're going to come away with something. You've got other guys on the roster right now. Not necessarily that you love, but they're guys. They're bodies. You don't have bodies at tight end right now. There isn't much at the tight end position. All right, I told you, I liked what I saw at the end of the season out of Hale Hinches. All right, but Jeremy Sprinkle is there. I don't think both of those guys make your football team. Not unless you're carrying 4 tight ends. To me, if you're carrying 3 tight ends, one of those 2 guys makes the roster, but you still need 2 tight ends. And so I think tight end is the position that right now sticks out like a sore thumb in the third round. But, you know, if the Redskins address tight end in free agency, maybe, you know, they decide. And again, best player available too. I mean, there could be a guy in the third round at the receiver position. Let's say the Redskins, who they've been rumored to want to go out and get a veteran wide receiver. Let's say that, because we got a young wide receiver core. So it would make sense that they want to add a veteran to the mix. Paul Richardson was the most veteran receiver we had. He's no longer on the football team. So it would make sense if Ron Rivera wanted to go out and get Emmanuel Sanders, a veteran that has chops and pedigree in this league, one of the best route runners in football, a consummate professional to add to the mix with these young guys. It would make a ton of sense. And he can still run. But let's say you don't get a veteran receiver and you end up adding another guy and there's a receiver in the draft that you had a second round grade on and he's sitting there in the third round. Maybe they go receiver. You know what I mean? So it's going to be dictated based off of what you do in free agency and then how the board falls. But right now for me, it's tight end. I think tight end is the biggest need. You can't have a complete offense if you don't have a credible tight end. It's hard. Let me walk that back. It's hard to have a complete offense if you don't have a credible tight end threat. The better offenses in the league have a tight end. It's hard because they're a mismatch nightmare. You can cover receivers, cover backs. It's so tough to cover a tight end. Usually they're bigger than the safety, and they're more athletically gifted than the backers, or vice versa, or both. So they're just mismatch nightmares. You know, the Travis Kelce's of the world, the George Kittles, they create problems. It's not a coincidence that the 2 teams that made the Super Bowl both had stellar tight ends. It's not a coincidence that the year before that, you know, teams with good tight end play made it to the Super Bowl. It's not a coincidence that the year before that, 2 of the best tight ends in football were in the Super Bowl in Zach Ertz and Rob Gronkowski. It's not a coincidence that teams with tight ends generate better production on offense. The tight end position is like the safety blanket for the quarterback. Dwayne didn't have that really last year. You know, how many times did he throw the football to Sprinkle and Sprinkle not catch it? How many times did he throw the football to Sprinkle and Sprinkle did catch it? But then you're like, man, you caught the hard one, but you dropped the easy one. And because you dropped it on third down, we got to punt. It'd be nice if we could get this guy a safety blanket. So I'd say tight end right now. But anyway, got one more, 2 more super chats. So Miguel Reyes 17, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Miguel writes, appreciate all your hard work. Keep it going. Hashtag or HTTR. Indeed. Definitely going to keep it. Look, I'm way too in deep now to stop. Like, this is what I love to do. No way I'm stopping. So I implore you guys to continue supporting and watching. That's what I do. Jay Willard, thank you for the super chat. Thank you again, both of you guys, for continuing the super chat. Both of you guys with multiple super chats tonight. Jay Willard says, thank you, Louis, for the call and keep up the good 411. No problem. Thank you for your support. And every one of you out there, your support as well. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louis T. Thank you for all the super chats. This was a great night in terms of super chats. I thought this was a great night in terms of the conversation tonight. A lot of thoughtful comments, a lot of great questions, a lot of great dialogue. I thought that you guys brought it tonight. This was awesome. Looking forward to doing this again in the very near future. We'll see if we do it next week. If we do, it'll be on Wednesday because next week the combine starts, and that's all the way from Thursday to Sunday, maybe even Monday. I think they've set it up now that the combine is over on Sunday, which is great. They used to spill over into Sunday, but I think last year it was over on Sunday. So either way, if we do it, it'll have to be Wednesday because the combine starts, the actual on the field drill start on Thursday. So in any event, I thank you guys for joining me. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. Please continue to support the movement. The podcast is up and available. Louis T Network podcast available on Stitcher, Google Music Play, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, and of course the website louistnetwork.net. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Louis T Network or at LTN Pod. Both of those are affiliated with this brand and channel. So please, by all means, if you're not following me on Twitter, please do so. With that being said, you guys take it easy. Have a great night. Looking forward to chopping it up with you in the near future. And once again, thank you for joining me on the Louis T Network Redskins Report live. Have a great night. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Louis T Network.